We're gonna have a little lunch live here. Gonna give people a few minutes to jump on. Give a few minutes to jump on here. Gonna have a great schedule. We're live on Facebook and on uh, Facebook and YouTube. So I was gonna do a pre-recorded video, but I just decided let's just knock this out as a live, to get this conversation going here. Just a few things. Look forward to your comments concerning this subject matter. So look, big spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the movie Soul, then I'm gonna spoil some of it for you. It's been a long enough time for you to have seen the movie Soul, so there's no reason for me not to give you any spoilers. So, but if you haven't seen it, you don't want any spoilers, it's not the video for you to watch. If you have seen it, I look forward to some of your insight, some of the thoughts that you may have concerning it, especially here in the actual chat. That'd be cool. We're going to take about 30, 45 minutes, have this discussion, and then it's off to work. We're having a little lunchtime live here. I want to thank everybody on my YouTube channel for being subscribers. If you're not on YouTube, go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Also become a member. We're approaching a full moon talk. We're going to have another live tomorrow where I anticipate another live tomorrow where we're going to discuss how to build through utilizing a family bank. And I'm not talking about that BS that the insurance companies put out to everybody. I'm talking about a real family bank. But today we're going to talk about the movie Soul. Oh yeah, I'm inside of Uncle Renz Popcorn. So hey, go online, shop at the letter U, the letter R, the word popcorn.com. Get some great popcorn. It's the best thing you've ever had. All right. I already got a comment. I felt the same way. Was trying to enlighten a child about it. Right. So as you saw by the title, the movie Pixar, the movie Soul, there's a lot of different messages in there. But one of the biggest messages I believe the movie is trying to tell, as well as what I picked up from the movie, is about the trap and the misguided concepts that we have concerning your life purpose. My own personal history. I went through many time frames or situations where people have asked me, what is your purpose? What is your purpose? Or this is your purpose and that is your purpose in life. And just like in the movie, those things weren't my purpose. So to give you the concept of it, the movie starts out with a guy named Joe Gardner. Joe Gardner is a middle school music teacher, and he plays the piano. He loves jazz. Jazz is his thing. And at one point in the movie, he talks about how his dad took him to a jazz club, and when he heard those keys and everything, it's just something like enlightened, sparked in his system that made that his life pursuit, his life purpose. And he had been pursuing a career in jazz his entire life, much to the chagrin of his mom. But he had been pursuing this desire, this goal to be a jazz musician and to make a living just playing jazz. And we grew up in this society where we're told that if you find that thing that you love and you can do it every day and you can make money from it, then that's your life purpose and you won't even feel like you worked a day in your life. That's some BS, but we'll get to that BS later. But the thing about it is that Joe is pursuing this, and he finally gets an opportunity. One of his former students is looking forward to the breakdown. One of his former students calls him up and said, look, Joe, hey, I got a chance for you to audition with this great jazz saxophonist, and they're in New York. And he goes and he kills it. He gets into the zone. We're gonna talk about the zone a little bit later too. He gets into the zone, he kills it, and he's walking on cloud 9. Well, he's walking on cloud 9 so much so that he falls into a open manhole and dies, or mostly almost die. Somewhat dead. And then he's on this weird conveyor belt that's going up into the great beyond, into the great light, into their version of heaven, pearly gates thing. And I don't know why it's a conveyor belt, but I guess for the movie to movie, it had to be a conveyor belt. So he's going up this conveyor belt, and he's like, what the hell is going on? And, oh, heck no, I'm not dead. I got a gig I got to play. He's so conscious of the gig, and he's so caught up into what he believes is his life purpose that he's like, nope, I got to go back. How you doing, white people? Why? I gotta go back. So he goes back. He figures out a way, and he punches through. Somehow he punches through the pearly gate force field, and he falls, but not back to Earth. He falls to the Great Before, and in the Great Before, he meets 22. And every soul has a number, but the 22nd soul, 22, has never earned their Earth badge. And the Earth badge, as it's presented initially in the movie, is your ticket to go to Earth. When you go and you begin to live your life here, right? And you dive through this big portal thing, and I don't know, you land wherever the Earth is spinning according to where the portal is located. And you land, and I guess you become a baby and that sort of thing. But 22 has never left the Great Before. No mentor has ever convinced 22 to go to get that Earth badge. And Joe impersonates a mentor, and they give him 22 to go work with. Now, it's an interesting thing here. For those who are into numerology and who understand and who focus on alchemical spiritual growth, and for you too, welcome to the alchemical mindset. The number 22 represents that the fact that you're in the process, in the process of a spiritual journey. 1111 represents the beginning of a new journey, right? 22 or 222 is that you're in the zone, you're in the process of that journey, right? It's like you're in the apprenticeship of the journey. And the numbers 33 represents you are mastering your journey, all right? So 22 is in the before, and he's like been there for eons. And 22 is like, he's kind of like the emoji meh. He's just like, nothing excites me. And so Joe is trying to get 22 to get his life badge so that Joe can get the life badge, the Earth badge, and go back to Earth and play this gig. I got ghosts in the room. And play this gig, right? I guess 22 just landed, right? So, so Joe is trying to mentor him. So he's trying to show him like, New York pizza, and they go into the Hall of Everything, which is kind of interesting because the 22. That means the soul number one, there was no Hall of Everything. So soul number one went, and then whatever soul number one started discovering, then the Hall of Everything started filling up. But so they go into the Hall of Everything, but you can put the pizza in, but you can't taste it. You can't do none of this stuff, so you can't really experience it. And that's very important. That's very important. So they go through this whole process, and then somehow they go into this space called the zone. Now the zone is very interesting because when it comes to your life purpose, the zone is a place where when you get into that mode, and I'm sure you all have been there, where Michael Jordan talks about sometimes he gets into a zone and the bucket, the basket seems like a big, huge bucket and he just can't miss. Hell, last night, my Atlanta Hawks, Gallinari was in the zone. The man hit 10 3-pointers. He was in the zone, right? And so they show when people get into the zone, they can't miss. And for all you New York Knicks fans, there's a New York joke in there where every time they're in the zone, 22 says, like, I've been messing with this team and knocks them out of the zone so that they never win. New York fans. But he's going, the zone is important because when we get into this zone, it's that space in between our conscious reality here on earth and our spiritual reality. When we're in sports, we like to say, oh man, he was unconscious or she was unconscious, and how she was doing, meaning that they were just in such a mode, or musicians get into that mode, or no matter what you're doing, you can get into the zone. And getting into the zone is very important because when you get into that zone, that's when like everything is popping, everything's going, you're out of body. So they show that this space, and that some people are in the zone by doing anything. There's this guy named Moonstar, Moonwalker, whatever his name was. And he's just a sign spinner in New York, but he gets into the zone and he's in a meditative state while he's spinning the sign. But that allows him to go in, and what he does is help to find lost souls. Because a lost soul is someone who gets so caught up into the zone, so caught up into that thing that they believe is their purpose. Moonwind, thank you, Moonwind. They get so caught up that they become a lost soul. right? And many people, many of you are lost souls. There was a time that I was a lost soul. And I'll explain a little bit more of that as I talk about Joe a little bit later on. But in the lost soul realm is when you're just so focused on that. And like they show a scene where there's a guy, he's a stockbroker, and he is in such a zone, and they knock him out that little zone, and he realizes in his life, like, why am I here? And he ups and quits his job, and that's all you ever see of that guy. But when you're out of that, but when you're stuck in that zone, that's all you're doing, right? Oh, good morning, Corbin. How you doing? Grand Rising King. So, I got to put my reading glasses on for some of these comments because I can't see it. So getting into the zone. So keep all that in mind. Keep all that in mind about you can get into the zone temporarily, or you can get so caught up into the zone that you lose sight of everything else around you and you become this lost soul because nothing else matters, right? So in going into this zone space, they figure out a way to Moonwind and his friends help Joe and is supposedly helping Joe to get his soul back. But he accidentally brings 22 with him. When they fall onto Joe's body, 22 falls into Joe's body while Joe falls into the body of a cat. So now they got to find Moonwind so they can reverse this whole situation. So Joe can go make the gig, and they only got like 6-7 hours. But in that process, 22 is experiencing life now on Earth. Now previously, 22 thought life on Earth, meh. And now that she's on Earth, 22 is like, she's terrified. She doesn't want to experience life. She doesn't want to deal with life. But then she starts experiencing certain things. She gets to experience pizza. Like she's having hunger. Well, first she experienced hunger pains. She experienced fear. Then she experienced hunger pains. And when she experienced hunger pain, there's pizza rat walk by. But then she gets, Jogo gets her some real New York pizza. And, of course, it's all in the water and the dough. But, she gets the pizza and she's like, oh my God, it's like, this is so great, this is so amazing and everything. And then walking becomes amazing. Then just walking in the sun becomes amazing. Watching one of them, I always call them helicopter seeds, little helicopter seeds when I was a kid because the little seed and spin around and it come down. So we call them helicopter seeds. The little helicopter seed thing falls down and he catches that in their hand. A little girl comes in and she wants to quit jazz because when she would get into the zone in Joe's class, and everybody would laugh at her, but she wants to quit jazz. But then 22 convinces her to play a little jazz. And 22 is amazed by it. All right? And then they have a little haircut issue, and they go and speak to the barber. Now, this is where it gets really important to start the beginning to understand the message of the movie. When he goes and talks to the barber says that and before they go talk to the barber, Joe the cat tells 22 who's in Joe's body that the barber is the only person that gets him. That he had a girlfriend named Lisa, but Lisa didn't get him. But the barber, he's the only one. He's the only one that they talk jazz all the time. He gets it. He understands it. He understands Joe's purpose, life purpose. Joe's mom ain't dealing with it. Nobody else is dealing with it. So he goes to the barber. The barber is tightening him up. But because 22 is in his body, and 22 has had mentors like Einstein and Ali and Marie Antoinette and just a whole laundry list of people. All right. Oh, those are from the ash tree? Yeah, I know. I find them fascinating. The little helicopter seeds. and so 22 has this huge existential conversation in the barbershop. And black folk, that's what we have, our conversations like that. I am Maria Mayat. How you doing? Grand Rising. And so they have this huge existential conversation. What's important here is that the barber explains that, and Joe's just listening because he never heard the barber talk about all this stuff. The barber explains that when his first desire was to be, I believe, a veterinarian. And to be a veterinarian was what he thought he wanted to be. That would have made him happy. That was his thing. But he had a daughter. And because he had a daughter, the circumstances said that he needed to go to school that was cheaper and quicker for him to get to work to be able to take care of his daughter. And so he became a barber. But he fell in love with being a barber because it gave him an opportunity to talk to so many people and learn from so many people. So he went and he became a barber, but he found his love in being a barber, found the thing that was great about being a barber, right? So by doing that, he still fulfilled a happy life because he's taking care of his daughter. He's, happy with his family. He's happy with his job. He gets to meet and have great conversation with people. And when Joe's leaving, the barber looks out the door and he tells Joe, man, it was great talking to you today. Great. He's like, basically, I talked to you for the first time and we talked about something other than jazz. And Joe the cat is just astounded because he's like, he didn't know all these things because Joe was so caught up into just talking about jazz all the time. This is where, and which is that thing that can make you a lost soul. I was that guy at one point. It's not even one point. There was a point in time in my life where all I talked about was self-help stuff. If you got in my car, I just listened to Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Les Brown, all the motivational speaking people. That's all I listened to, and that's all I would talk about. There was a time where, and it can come around every now and then. All I talk about is business. Every conversation somehow is going to come to business. There was, and one of the things that snapped me out of the self-help, always talking about that one time, is that I came up to my kids, and me and my kids came, and we were seeing my nieces and nephews, and they was like, okay, here comes Uncle Wayne. My family calls him Wayne. Here comes Uncle Wayne. He about to teach us a life lesson. And I just like, oh, damn. That's all my family thinks I talk about is just life lessons. Yeah, break it down. The movie can be broken down comedically as well. That's a whole nother video, though. But I was, just so caught up into just talking about one thing. But I was a person who studied and had interest in tons of things. But I found myself only talking about one thing. And even right now, sometimes I can get caught up talking about business. All right. But now it's more relative to whom I'm talking to, because I talk to different people about different stuff. All right. The movie started to demonstrate at that point that Joe began realizing that his life, and he actually saw how his life had been when he was still up in the great before, but he thought it was a failure and was like, oh hell, I gotta definitely go back now and fix this and become that jazz musician and all that. He was still so focused on his life purpose being what you do. One of the guardians, they were called Jerry's, up in the great before, told him that he laughed at him and said, you mentors, you always think that what you do is your life purpose, that your spark is your life purpose. But the spark of life was never that. And once it's this other character, I forgot what they're called. He found 22 and Joe on Earth because the count was off, and he made them come back up to the great before. Right? He's gonna come to the great before, but then 22 becomes depressed because 22, Joe goes off on 22. 22 then thinks that she's not worthy, and she goes and becomes a lost soul. But now, Joe got to go find 22, help her to realize that she's not a lost soul, because Joe gets back into his body, and while he's back into his body, he goes and plays the gig, right? Right. What movie is this? The movie is Soul. Disney Pixar Soul movie Soul. So when Joe gets back into his body, he plays the event with the jazz musician, but he doesn't feel that thing. He thought that, oh man, and once I play this, I'm gonna feel like life is fulfilled, but he didn't play that. And one of the beautiful things that the jazz musician tells him this little story. I'm gonna tell you guys what the story is. She said there was an old fish and a young fish. And they're in the river, and the young fish telling the old fish, I just want to get to the ocean. Man, I want to get to the ocean. I can't wait to get to the ocean. And the old fish asks, like, it says, like, you want to get to the ocean. What do you think the ocean is? It's like, it's, the big ocean, wall to water. He's like, and what do you think a stream is? Well, he tells him that you're already in the ocean. And he was like, no, I'm not in the ocean. I'm in a river. He's like, well, what do you think? What's in the river? Water. What's in the ocean? Water. It's all water. The ocean is just water. So is a stream. So is a river. It's just a different kind of water. Because she tells him you're going to come back and we're going to play this set again. And he's not going to feel any different. It's just what you do. It's just what is going on. we have to realize that what you do is not who you are. The finding the spark for 22 to find the spark for life is not in what you do, not what your purpose of what your job is. The spark of life is just what you enjoy, the experience of life. This is what Joe was missing. This is what 22 was missing. And when they both realized that, 22 got an opportunity to come down to earth, but also Joe couldn't go with 22. It's speculation that 22 becomes Boo from the movie Monsters Inc. But that's all that kind of stuff. And then Joe, he gets an opportunity to come back and really and try again. They give him a second chance. He's put back in his body, resurrected, so to speak. But the message from the movie is the fact that 22 found, even though 22 has spent eons and knows everything, knew everything about Earth, had been into the Hall of Everything, had all these mentors, that the true spark that 22 was looking for had to be the experience of life. And what Joe had been missing is the experience of life. Joe was so focused on jazz that he missed out on the experience of love from the girl Lisa that they talked about briefly in the movie. He never experienced that deep relationship. He was missing out. He was so focused on playing jazz a certain way that when he was offered an opportunity for it to be a full-time music teacher, he missed the joy of sparking young kids to become musicians, because he had the one kid that wanted to quit, but one of his students had became a great musician playing with this Althea, I think her name was Althea Johnson or something like that, playing with Althea in her quartet. He missed talking to people. He didn't know all these. He thought his barber was his guy and that they connected. But he realized that they didn't really connect. He just talked about, Joe just talked about jazz all the time, so that's what the guy talked about with him. But the guy felt so much better when he was like, damn, dude, we had a real conversation, right? We really, really, really talked, right? So it's those moments. It's every moment that you look outside and you see the sun peeking through a cloud. It's feeling the breeze on your skin. It's having a great conversation. It's picking up a piece of trash that was, just laying in the street and no one else picked it up and ignored it, and you put it in the trash, right? It's helping someone who's been hurt, helping someone, who needs help. And sometimes it's helping people who don't even need help. It's going to the gym and enjoying it. It's about, and it's not just about the joys of it. It's when something negative happens in your life, when things don't work out the way you want them to, but finding the lesson in it, or seeing yourself work out of it. Financially, I was in a 6-year slump, right? Until about a year and a half ago, I was in a 6-year financial slump. This company wasn't doing that great. Store location after store location wasn't doing that great. And I could have gotten into a funk about it. I could have been sad about it, but I appreciated the lessons that I learned. Because all the lessons I learned over that 6-year period, when I stopped and sat back for 2 years, re-engaged my finances to get them to the point where I can reopen this store, get out of that slump where I couldn't really do everything I wanted to do for my kids or with my kids, it gave me an appreciation for when I did reopen the store. But I also, I love the journey. Unlike 22, I didn't met the whole thing. I enjoyed the journey, the process, the times that I had to live in my store. When I lost a car, and instead of saying, damn, I lost the car, I appreciated the fact that without a car, I can't be ripping and running all over the place, and I'm gonna sit my tail down and I'm gonna study, I'm gonna read more, I'm gonna meditate more. The gym was across the street, I'm gonna go work out more. I looked at all the advantages that it gave me during those time frames. The spark of life is enjoying every aspect of life. The things that you have to go through in order to succeed, the things you have to go through, just going through them. The people in your life that you have to love. I saw somebody on Facebook post a thing about, I know who it was, but it was a picture of her grandmother, and she was saying, I would give anything just to share one more meal with her, right? Don't be that person to wish that you can share one more meal. Now, I understand the sentiment. She spent a lot of time with her grandmother, so It's not in that's not the full sentiment of it. But how many of you have family members that you haven't spent time with? The fact that we sitting around waiting, thinking we got all day. You might be you're an eternal being, but you're living in a finite body. All right, you're living in a finite body. So those friends that you haven't talked to in a while, those family members that you haven't talked to in a while, those people that you still got anguish or anger about. Hell, I know a lot of people on Facebook. Hey, how y'all doing? I know a lot of people on Facebook are gonna say like, "Damn, Renz, you were married a while ago. The relationship broke up November 7th, and now you're already in a relationship and y'all going on to the Virgin Islands and stuff." Here's the thing. Some people are going to say, "Oh, you need time to heal. You should take a break," and all this kind of stuff. Although none of the things recently was planned in my dating of Shay, the thing about it is, life is too short for me to put my time scale on your time scale. Life is too short for me to be concerned about what your opinions are. Life is too short for me to gauge when I should be happy and when I should be in a relationship, when I shouldn't be in a relationship, based on what y'all think. You should think the same way. You should not give two shits about what other people think concerning how you live your life. If I decided that I want to go live on an island butt naked with the other butt naked people, I don't care, and I shouldn't care. If that what makes me happy, if that's why I'm fulfilling my life, that's what I should do. I have had so many career changes. Now, I thought it was weird. When I got out of the Marine Corps, they told me in my transition program, you're probably going to have 6 different careers before you retire. I thought that was ludicrous because I grew up in a time frame where you got a job, you had the job forever, and that was it. Or you started a business, you had the business forever, and that was it. My dad had a windows, doors, and installation company from the time that I can remember until he passed, or until he got too sick to work it. That was my mode. My uncle had a company like that until he died. I didn't think that you can change and do other things. That's not how I grew up. So when they said that to me, I thought that was weird. But no. The fact of the matter is, I served in the Marine Corps. Then I worked as a manager. Well, hell, in the Marine Corps, I carried 5 different billets in my 8.5 years, which means that I did 5 different jobs that had only one had something to do with what I was actually went in for, but everything else was totally different, had nothing to do with my actual job. I worked for CVS as a store manager. I project managed to open up this place called CarSpa. I opened up a sunglass watch and candle shop in Rome, Georgia. I became an IT guy down in Tampa, Florida. From IT, I became a personal trainer. Then I built the whole gym and fitness company. Then I got out of that and I started coaching. And then I opened up this popcorn shop. And guess what? There's no telling what's coming next. Actually, there is something coming next, and I know exactly what it is, but there's no telling what's coming next. And just like I was telling my son the other day, you don't have to discover your purpose or your job or your career at 19 years old. You have time, and I could care less if it's 20 years later you decide to change something, or 5 years later you decide to change something. You can be and do whatever you want to do because it's just a job. Now, find your talent, get a job, do work in something you're talented in so that you can make some money, right? To be able to live your life how you want to live your life so that you can grow and be who you desire to be, right? Take every experience and learn from it, but enjoy it, right? I was just telling someone yesterday, although I hate the fact of how my marriage went and that it ended and how it ended, I appreciate every lesson that I learned from it. I appreciate every growth that I gained from it. There are things I learned from her. There are things I learned about myself. There are things that I got better at. There are things that I developed. There are things that I continue to grow in. My spirituality got deeper. A whole bunch of things changed for me, and I appreciate that. Right? I appreciate that deeply. And you know, I apologized to her when we got divorced. You know, when we was walking out, I'm sorry how things went. If ever one day I encounter her again, I would tell her, you know, I appreciate all the lessons that I learned from you, from the experience. I don't carry any malice or hatred. It's a lesson learned. It's things learned. It's a point of life. And that's what the movie is kind of trying to show you, that Your purpose in life is to live it. Your purpose in life is to experience it. Your purpose in life is not um, your purpose in life is not trying to uh, figure out a job that you want to do. I'm sorry, I got a comment over here. Not be explaining yourself like you did just jump. Stop trying to use it. Well, and your purpose in life is not to just be run around. Okay, what's the point of trolling? Really? If a situation, and Claudette, all I'm gonna say is, you know, things happen. We all gonna walk away with our perspective, and that's the other thing I was saying earlier. People are gonna, everyone, no matter what you do in life, you're the hero and you're the villain. And to some people, at one point you're the hero, then next point you're the villain. But if you allow yourself to get consumed by that, then you'll find yourself as a lost soul. You'll find yourself as a lost soul, consumed by frustration, consumed by anger, holding on to things that actually never benefit you. Instead of just saying that, hey, keep moving in life. Keep finding joy in life. Keep learning lessons in life through your good times, your bad times. Keep growing. Keep developing. Don't let anything hold you into one position. You see, Joe let Jazz hold him into one position. 22 meh attitude about life on earth held her into one position. It wasn't until they experienced life, well, until 22 experienced life, and Joe himself realized that he was so ingrained and focused and stuck on one thing that he was missing out on life. And so the two kind of met in the middle to realize that life is an experience. I've told you guys in many videos on my YouTube that there's a lady I know, she's never made more than $40,000 a year. But last time I talked to her a couple of years ago, she was on her 4th passport. I know people who make way more money than her and don't even have a passport. Way more money than her and have never been outside the country. Way more money than her and really have never been too far outside of the state that they live in, if they've ever left the state they're in. Now, travel may or may not be a person's thing, but think about the concept of that. People want to travel, but they never do because they're held by a job, they're held by bills, they're held by a daily routine. When I was a personal trainer, one of the things I always recognized, and when I became a personal trainer and a master nutritionist through ISSA, and one of the things that they teach us is that most people only eat the same 23 foods. 23 foods. That's it. 23 foods. Most of y'all in y'all closet pretty much wear the same 15 outfits over and over again. Where's the spice? Where's the change? Where's the going out and doing more and being more and experiencing more? There's this thing out now called a Sigma male. The Sigma male, and I guess you can call it a Sigma person. I don't like the fact they call it just a Sigma male. It's the person who's explorative, basically. They're not necessarily, they have alpha-like qualities and they have beta-like qualities, but they are more explorative. They're more, where everybody else is wearing a blue suit, they'll walk in with a green suit, all right, and feel perfectly comfortable in their green suit. In a sense, the spark that gives people their life badge, earth badge rather, is the Sigma male, is the Sigma person. It's the green suit. It's that thing that says that I'm going to go out and explore life and enjoy life. But most of us are missing out on life because we're stuck in one mindset. And we can't get ourselves out of that one mindset. So if there are things you haven't explored in life yet, I encourage you to go out and explore it. If there are things that are within your circle right now, if you've watched some of my other video, I talk about that infinite growth. The formula for infinite growth is capacity times a balanced life and a balanced business life equals infinite growth. that as you feel your capacity, if you split yourself into the categories, put a circle, you're in the middle, put a circle, split it up into different categories: finances, health, education, spirituality, relationships, all that kind of stuff. As you first have to fulfill all of that. Fulfill that first. If you focus just on finances, then if you ever had a tire with a bump in it, that's got a little hump in it, every time it spins, it hits that bump. It spins, it hits that bump, right? It's annoying and it's a bad ride. It's not a good ride. It's not joyful. And eventually it's going to pop and flatten. If your life is that way, you're so focused on finances, or you're so focused on relationships, or you're so focused on religion, or you're so focused on your children. And a lot of people do that one, get so focused on their children or focused on their career that everything in life is out of balance. You have a bump in your tire. And at some point, your life is going to go flat. You retire, you work hard, work tired just for retirement. And you get to retirement and it's not everything you thought it was going to be. It's not the super relaxed, joyful, going to spend time with the grandkids, you and your spouse going to have a great time. It's not all of that, because you spent so much focus on your career or so much focus on your children that you lost focus on your spouse. And so 30 years later, when everybody's gone and you're retired, you don't know your spouse. So all that joyful thing that you thought you was going to do with your spouse is not happening, right? Or you focus so much on your children that you weren't focused on your career, and now you're retired and you got to go live with your kids because you can't afford to live by yourself anymore. All right? Balance is key. Finding your balance is key. When you find your balance and you fulfill your total experience of life, then there's a whole nother realm that opens up for you to experience. When you can step out into the sunlight and enjoy the moments of the sun, you can appreciate a flower, you can appreciate a conversation, and you enjoy those things, you are fulfilling your life, right? And when you fulfill that life, it continues to expand. And when you fulfill it beyond that, your consciousness expands to the point where you're ready for the next stage, the next level of consciousness, where you're ready to go beyond this earth suit and truly have that alchemical mindset. I don't want to ignore anybody's comments. Side note, Coach, you noticed that 22 put a chemistry formula for, I did not notice that, thurbermine and coca. I did not notice that. Now I'm going to have to go back and look at that. But yeah, I'll go back and look at that again. But that's the thing. Experience life, but in balance. I told my son, find a work that you can be interested in. Do that work. Do it as best you possibly can. Many of you go to jobs that y'all hate. But if you remember when you first got that job, you was excited. You was excited. Oh, I got a new job. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. And you go in there and you're motivating. Everything's great. It's great. It's great. But after a while, you got bored with it. Or after a while, you start focusing on the negative aspects of it. You continue to focus on the negative aspects of it, and the job becomes horrible. Now, there are situations where you go, you're happy, you're great, the job seems great, but once you get into it, you realize that this job sucks. It's not what I thought it was going to be. In either case, it's time to make a change. It's time to make a change. But find what's great about the place first. Try to focus and stay on what's great about the place, what's great about the work. Do the work. Too many times y'all get behind in y'all work because you're in there and you're chit-chatting too much, you're social media too much, you're doing all these things too much and not doing the work. But get in, do the work, and get out. And then go and enjoy it. Go have some fun. Don't wait till the weekend. I told you guys before that I used to be, okay, there was a woman that I dated. And we dated, and when we was dating, if I said if I want to go out on a Tuesday, we went out on a Tuesday. If I said if she would get off work, drive to the other side of town where I lived, and we'd be up all night, late night, we have fun, we talking. It was great, and that's how it was going. I was like, shoot, and I found the one, married her. A month after we got married, we only can go out on Saturdays because I gotta work during the week. He ain't even driving across town no more. We're in the same house. I gotta work during the week. I hate my job. Friday, I just want to recuperate from the week. Saturday, we can go out after I finish cleaning the house. Sunday, I need to rest so I can get ready for the week. And that became our life. And I was like, what happened? What happened to, you know, the fun girl that I met when we was dating? Where that representative come? Where that representative at? Right? And that ultimately became an issue throughout the process of the marriage. And it brought about other issues. So it became a point after 5 years, 6 years, it was like, nah, this is not the life for me. Right? And that's the thing. You got to look for the life for you. That wasn't the life for me. I enjoy every moment of life. Right? Like every moment, no matter where I am. I've been in places where everything's going on and it's, you know, it's supposed to be a negative. And I sit there and meditate, man, and just get my mind just in a whole nother space. Like Moon Wind flipping his sign, but was in a meditative state. Sometimes I'll be at work. I had to go to court for a traffic ticket. Everybody else is in there frustrated, irritated, mad. One, I'm enjoying the conversation that's going back and forth with the people working there, or I got into a meditative state where I was just contemplating other things that's going on in my life and that I'm looking forward to, or planning, or I got a book. You know, it's always an opportunity for you to experience the greatness of life. And that's what Joe was missing. That's what 22 wasn't ready to experience, but when they experienced it, it was great. But then after 22, and let me hit this last point and then I'm gone. 22 experienced life, thought it was great, wanted to hold on to life. Wanted to hold on to it so much that she ran away from Joe and wasn't going to give Joe his body back. But when Joe was yelling at 22, telling them that, look, the only reason you're experiencing this joy of life is because you're in my body, and that's not your body. And, you know, just really went in on her. 22 then was going into and became a lost soul. And all she was hearing was the negative things that people were saying, that mentors had said, that when mentors got frustrated with 22, before Joe, she experienced life, she was just like, yeah, it didn't matter what they said. But now she's listening to what other people say. If you keep listening to what other people say, it will hinder your life. It will hinder you from experiencing life. You'll become a lost soul because you will become everything that they are saying. As the saying goes, if you feed your mind negativity or you feed your mind positivity, whatever you feed your mind, you can feed your mind negativity or positivity. Whatever you feed it is what you're going to get. If you feed your life negative, if you feed your life the negativity, you feed your life everything negative that someone has said, everything negative someone has done, then that's all you're going to see life as, just that. Yeah, but if you feed it positive, if you focus on the things that's growing, that's building, then that's what you'll see. I almost got caught up into some negative BS yesterday. So I did a TikTok with one of my new employees because she made a product incorrectly, but you know, to me it's okay, you made a product incorrectly. I asked her, I said, hey, would you do this TikTok with me? She was like, yes. I said, okay, we're gonna do this TikTok. We're gonna explain that you made a mistake and that it's a oops popcorn and that we are selling it. Because why take a mistake and just throw it away if it's still good, right? So we did the TikTok video. It was fun. Most of the people enjoyed it, but there was like 5 negative people. Oh, you too close. You holding that little girl too tight. I asked her the whole time how you want to do the video, and that's how we decided to do the video. So, oh, she's uncomfortable. I could have focused on the negativity of what they were saying. I could have focused on that. But instead, and I almost did, I responded to some of them. And one person was so adamant. They was going to other people who also spoke negative and just saying, sticking with them. And I finally just had to say, I'm sorry for whoever hurt you. But if you think that all men are just trying to touch some girl, then that's like me saying all women nag, or all black people steal, or all men are rapists, or anything of that nature. But that's not what it is. That's not what's going on. But I told her, I'm sorry for whomever hurt you. And if you're just living in a negative state all the time, I'm sorry. You can go ahead. I'm sorry for whomever created that negative state. That's Nyla. That's the one that messed up the popcorn. But it came out great, and a lot of people have been ordering it, though. But whoever caused you that pain in your life, whoever was telling you that you were no good, Whoever was telling you that you need to stop living your life this way or that way, whoever beat you, whoever mentally abused you, physically abused you, whoever financially abused you, whoever told you that you're not worthy, whoever did those things, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that that ever happened to you. But you have to stop letting it control you. If you stop letting that control you, then you will be open to experience the true joys of life, the fullness of life. But you have to stop letting your past traumas keep you from exploring and enjoying every aspect of life. Your purpose is not your job. Your purpose is not your children. Your purpose is not, oh, and like my grandmother did say one time to me, she's like, the purpose, and well, actually I had a couple of people tell me this back in the day, your purpose is to live life so that you can worship God forever. And as a kid, I was like, I don't want to do that. That's boring. Your purpose is not even that. Your purpose, regardless of what you believe religiously, is to experience every aspect of life. That's your purpose, experiencing life and enjoying it and learning from it and growing from it and not letting anything hold you down to one thing. I can talk to you guys from everything on finances, relationship, philosophies, tons of historical attributes we can talk. I can talk about damn near anything because I study damn near everything because I find an interest in it. Who says I should only do one thing? There's no telling what I'm going to do as work, but my interests are wide and I enjoy life constantly. I'm enjoying it. Even though I had a frustrating day at work yesterday, I still walked away from it, finding the joy in it. So y'all need to take that into your thought process. He said, right, I hate that they cut out off the part Moonwind mentioned, the crown chakra. Right, yeah. They did stop showing that. I'm waiting. I want to see an uncut version of the movie where where you can see everything that they actually made. But just go and experience life and enjoy it. Stop letting things hold you back, things hold you down. Don't let your past traumas keep you. That's the movie. That's the movie. Joe let losing his father and really sticking with jazz because his father introduced him to jazz and that held him down. And that kept him from ever growing. He missed out on a great relationship. Even his relationship with his mother was tense because of his focus on life. Because when he wasn't focused on life. He was just focused on jazz. So y'all have a great day. And I'm going to end it right here. Y'all have a great day. Remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good vibrations and good journey. Hit these end buttons. We're going to end everything. Thank you guys. Appreciate you.